Hey guys, Gareth Jones here. I wanted to talk about something that has been a subject of much debate for very many years since, I got involved in the community in 2006, 2007, and it was still kind of a controversy back then. But I'm seeing it more and more on Facebook now, and it's kind of making me a little bit nervous, so I thought I'd address it. It's the concept of your PUA name or your PUA handle or your pickup artist moniker or whatever it is. Now, back when this became famous because of the game, obviously. If you haven't read it, highly recommended. Very interesting read for sure. Neil Strauss and Erica Markovic, Style and Mystery, were using handles, Style, respectively, Style and Mystery, on the internet, usernames, to talk about how we talk to girls, what the science of social engineering and the science of female mindset and how to work that and how to use that to our advantage and all of the kind of game of dating, And they were using that to discuss that because they didn't want people jumping on Google, Googling their name, and find that they had been saying, oh, well, I went out with this girl and did this thing and then, it didn't work out, so what do I do? They didn't want to be found out, and I think a lot of that came from the insecurity about really trying out new things and not being sure of what's right. They didn't want people to discover that they weren't these natural guys with women. They didn't want people to discover that they weren't the promise of this natural lover, and that they actually came from kind of dark backgrounds and weren't really cool, and that was a tricky thing. I mean, I can totally relate to that because I was not a cool person. A lot of people didn't like me. I didn't have nice cool clothes. I wasn't in the popular crowd, and I can relate to becoming popular, becoming cool, to becoming good with women, and being afraid of my past. Now, there is also something to be said for, essentially using women as test subjects to learn these arts, which seems a bit nefarious and seems a bit unethical and has been the source of much debate for a long time. And that can lead to quite a bit of fear. But you have to understand right now, we're in 2016 as of this recording, and it's been quite a few years, and we really do understand how to become that natural with women, how really what it is that we really need to focus on with women, and how to be present in the moment and to become part of yourself, to be more aware of yourself and your own feelings, and how to increase the quality of both your life and the lives of others around you. We know how to do that. If you are still using techniques and tactics that were written about 10 years ago or 15 years ago or even 20 years ago, I'm afraid to say that in most cases you're missing the boat. Now, I'll make that general statement, and then I'll say that, as I go on Facebook and I have a lot of friends, I can always bring up, someone like Asian Playboy or Mystery or Neil Strauss and see that we have, 800 or 1,000 mutual friends on Facebook. I see a lot of them are PUA name, name PUA, but they're always kind of monikers. They're always like, techno pussy getter or what do we say? Pussy Destroyer 69 is the joke that we use. And that they're not actually their real people's names. Now, I never used a PUA name because I never really saw the point in it. I always thought that my growth was a really honorable thing, and for the most part, if I'm allowed to explain, or I should say if I'm always allowed to explain, it always is understood by women and congratulated, and in a lot of cases it's quite admirable. I receive more texts and more emails than I can count of women saying, I've got somebody you need to help, or thank you for doing what you do. Because really my job as a pickup artist is not really to get guys laid. It's to make men better with women so that women have a better experience, so that then they have a life filled with freedom and choice, and that a lot of the things that we used as tactics, PUA tactics, in the early 2000s or in the late 1990s, we won't need anymore. Because a lot of those things are used to get past the walls that women have because dudes were kind of douchebags, or they were doing it wrong, or they were being shitty, or they were injuring women in these ways. I would love it if the future of seduction was that we could all learn this method that could, get guys laid with girls that they like, and that can create bonds between these women and these men so that these women really enjoy this, right? You know, a lot of guys are still in the position where they hear about women getting, like, women want, like sex more than men, and they're like, well, that's not true because I have to fight every time I want to get sex. Well, a lot of case, that's you doing it wrong, you know, of course, it's pursuing the wrong methods. But also, you have to understand that you're fighting against all the other shitty dudes in the past, right? So much of the problems that we have building relationships and even interacting with people are because of the poor experiences that they've had with people before. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because if you are using a PUA handle to hide what you're doing, then chances are in some cases, you're not proud of what you're doing. You're not accepting that fully. And I mean, I can relate to, like, I mean, every time I put out a video for guys, right, where I speak to men in the way that men understand, I'm going to get flack from it from women because women see it, or not all women, but some women see it as, oh, well, this is what you're saying and this is what you're objectifying. And I totally get that because the way I speak to women is different than the way I speak to men, because the way women interpret information is different than the way men interpret information. And this isn't just women and men, it's masculine energy and feminine energy, and it's everybody in general. I have a level of social communication and social understanding that the way I interact with everybody is different. And it's not changing me so much as it is allowing the right parts of me to come out at the right times. So when I say that if you are afraid of people finding out what you're doing, then perhaps you shouldn't be doing it. Perhaps it's not honorable. Perhaps there are things about it that maybe you should reevaluate. On the other hand, there are some cases where dudes are afraid to let people know what they're doing, and they shouldn't be. You know, a lot of guys, I mean, I've had so many experiences with guys that are really wary of women finding out that they aren't good with women, that they need to take a class to be good with women. And 99.9% of women think that's really, really, really ridiculous, because if you're bad at tango, you take a tango class. You know, if you're bad at cooking, you take a cooking class. If you're bad with women, you take a class to be with women, to be better with women. And 99.9% of people, of women, think that's really admirable. Because I assure you, it does not matter how many times you as a man have been rejected, have been blown out, have had rotten experiences with women. Women have had it way worse than we have. Way worse. I assure you that. And a lot of guys, you know, we suffer from chronic uniqueness where we think, oh, I'm the one that has the worst time and no one could have it worse than me. But I assure you, beautiful women, intelligent women have had it way rougher than we have. And they're the ones that are often the most encouraging, that will say, wow, what did you study at this class? And, you know, when you go in and you say, oh, I studied how to trick a girl into feeling bad so she'll like me more or admire me more, that's when you're going to get flack. That's when you should be ashamed of what you're learning. However, if after you work with me in the Art of the Playboy and you come out and you say, well, we focused on being aware, we focused on really understanding our intentions, and then using qualification to find out what a woman's intentions are and seeing if they're going to mix by speaking honestly and openly, she's going to go, wow, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what we need, what people need, just in general. I mean, regardless of this whole men and woman thing, this whole dating thing. So evaluate what it is that you're coming from, where it is that you're coming from. If you don't have a PUA name, awesome. If you're ashamed to do the boot camp, or if you're ashamed that you did a boot camp, if you want to become a cool PUA, which is a whole other subject that I could go on for another hour about, reevaluate, find out why, and find out if this is something that you should stick to, or if you should really get down to the nitty-gritty, chip away some of the bad bits, reevaluate the tactics and the methods or the mindsets that you do use, and move forward. So for you guys that are watching this video, that have made it to the end, I want two things. The first thing is, I want you to explain why it is that you have a PUA handle. If you don't have a PUA handle, awesome. From the guys that don't use a PUA handle, I want you to explain to me, and to the guys that use a PUA handle, what are the benefits of embracing who you are and really being honest with your mindsets that you've had. And from the women that are watching this, please tell me what you think about guys going out to learn how to talk to girls. I'm not saying that are learning how to deceive them or that are learning how to tell them, you know, lies or whatever so that they'll like them more. I mean guys that are out there, that are sitting at their computer, that are really nervous to tell that woman in the brilliant blue dress that they saw walk by, that she looks fabulous in that color, and that if she's some sort of artist that he'd really like to get to know more about her because that's so interesting. I'd love to hear what women have to say about that, because I really do believe that there's a fundamental lack of women expressing to men that, hey, you know what? This is totally honorable and I admire you moving forward with that kind of process. Really, really would like that. So if you guys would do those things, I'd really appreciate it. You can do it on this video, you can do it on Facebook, on the video on YouTube, or you can do it on Facebook. You can send it right to my email at gareth@artoftheplayboy.com. Really appreciate it, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. For more information, head on over to artoftheplayboy.com, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.